for it to die. Rely on yourself in no way. Believe.
Good morning. Hopefully everyone's doing good. I'm doing a little better. I had a really rough afternoon yesterday. Sorry I didn't make it to Savage Patriots, but I was inconvenienced by having to go get checked out. So I have been given some things to try and take care of the physical issues I've been experiencing. So, um, yeah, we'll see if it works. But they also told me to stay as take don't do a whole lot of heavy anything just right now. So yeah, they did a little bit of a um, ultrasound to see if there's anything other than what I've been explaining happening. They didn't find anything yet. Although I just got notification that my test results are in, so I'll check it out after the show. Um, yeah, it's been interesting, to say the least. But we're here now, so let's have a conversation, shall we? Um, the something's been floating around my head for a while about what really motivates today's pastors. And it finally came to me, the realization of what they're doing. And ironically, I had to go diving back into my college days to find the information, you know, because when I went to college, I was going to become a teacher. That was my plan. I was going to be a teacher. I uh, I wanted to go into art education at one point. In fact, when I started off college, I wanted to be a computer programmer. Quickly realized that was not for me. Not for me. Mm-mm. But art was, and I wanted to be a teacher. So with teaching, you go into a myriad of philosophical things, topics, and even people. You deal with them a lot and trying to understand the child's psyche or trying to understand, you know, people in general. And one thing came back to my memory. And so I started doing some cross referencing and realized, wow. Yes, you're fine to do that. That's not an issue at all. You can feel free to inbox me anywhere, my email or messenger, it doesn't matter. Something hit me. And when I finally looked into it, it was 100. When I say it was a carbon copy, people, carbon copy. It erased every question I had about the modern preacher. And hopefully, what it'll do for you is show you something that'll make you not even worry about them anymore. And it'll give you an angle to talk to people aside from the devil is doing this kind of thing. Because I know a lot of people that are listening to them really don't have the emphasis of what the devil is, and look, they don't care. But if you can convince them or show them that they are being manipulated in a certain very specific way, I think you might be onto something. Okay, so I'll give you this info. Do with it what you want. Um, in fact, if it doesn't pan out that you think it makes sense, then you don't use it. Okay. So there was a individual um, that had a very interesting, indeed interesting um, life, and the individual came up with a theory about humankind. His name was Abraham Maslow. Now, y'all may know Maslow, but you might know him from Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Okay. You might know him from that particular pyramid that you probably went through when you were younger in school. It was mentioned before in school. In fact, when we were younger, it was actually taught from the teacher's perspective to the kids, more so on the higher level of education, high school to college. Okay. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs is what we're going to be showing you and comparing it and contrasting it to what exactly New Age pastors do. Okay, here we go. So Maslow's hierarchy, his hierarchy of needs is a motivational theory in psychology comprising a 5-tier model of human needs, often depicted as hierarchical levels within the pyramid. From bottom of the hierarchy upwards, there are needs: physiological, food and clothing, safety, job security, love and belonging needs, friendship, esteem, and self actualization. Now, straight off the top, how many pastors already fit into that mold about what they push? Think about it just real quick. Think about this, okay? The hierarchy divvies out where they believe the majority of humankind find their worth. Okay. Now, the Bible itself and God's way of looking at it is that we are the complete opposite. We should be looking to Him for our self worth, right? For our worth is not necessarily in the flesh, but in Him, because when He becomes one with us, we now look at Him. Okay, good. Maslow's theory looks at this more from your perspective of yourself without God. This is why the health and wealth and the prosperity gospel takes off with people. Because, yes, within each humankind, there is a longing to be needed and loved. That is a God placed thing. The problem with man is we find everything but Him to fill those spaces. We find everything but Him to fulfill all the needs we have. And even when we go to Him, we want Him to give us what we want and what we deem necessarily for us. We don't even go to Him for what He gives. We go to Him for what we want. If you realize that's exactly how they push it in churches. Anything you need, just ask Him and He's going to give it to you, when He should be all you need. You get the problem here? There is a breakdown in what He says versus what man says, but man's voice has become quite strong when it comes to who they listen to. Okay, now watch this. Needs lower down in the hierarchy must be satisfied before individuals can attend to needs higher up. Okay, you hear that? The needs lower down in the hierarchy must be satisfied before individuals can attend to the needs higher up. So, food, air, shelter, sleep, clothing, reproduction. Next, personal securities, employment, resources, health, prosperity. What do they do to the congregation first off? What do they try to guarantee you with giving? God's going to provide everything you need: your food, your shelter, your water, your clothing. Your job's going to get better. Your resources going to improve. Your health's going to get perfect. Property value going to explode. All this stuff they promise you, don't they? They promise it to you on a certain level of reciprocation from God. So if you give, He gives back. You do want these met, don't you? Well, if you want those met, you're going to have to give. All right. Friendship, intimacy, family, a sense of connection. You want to belong to this body, don't you? You want God to be considered your friend, don't you? You're looking for your next man and your next woman, aren't you? Give. love and belonging. Esteem, respect, self-esteem, status, recognition, strength, and freedom. God wants you to be independent. God wants you to be respectful of yourself. You need to have self-esteem. You've heard them say that too? It is about you. And then finally, desire to become the most that one can be in self-actualization. Don't they tell you? Don't they tell you that? Let me give you some examples. Let me give you some examples here. You'll recognize most of these people, okay?
What you're up against may be big, but it's no match for you. The same power that raised Christ from the dead lives in you. It's a power so strong that it couldn't keep Jesus in the grave.
I hope you heard what he said. It is not a slip. It is not a slip. These things, he is too succinct to make this mistake. I'm going to back it up again. If you know anything about Osteen, he is very slick and he is very calculated. He does not make Freudian slips when he speaks. Okay? Listen again to what he just said. Listen again carefully.
What you're up against may be big, but it's no match for you. The same power that raised Christ from the dead lives in you.
The same power that raised Christ from the dead lives in you. Now he's talking about that power next, right? That power he's talking about. Listen carefully.
It's a power so strong that it couldn't keep Jesus in the grave.
It's a power so strong it couldn't keep Jesus in the grave. Watch.
A power so strong that a teenage shepherd boy defeated a giant.
So it didn't apply to Jesus. I want you to catch that, okay? Here we go.
A power so strong that prison doors opened for Paul and Silas. A power so strong that a fiery furnace couldn't burn 3 Hebrew teenagers.
Now, please, I want you to emphasize this for yourself. What exactly precursored this power being implemented, okay?
A power so strong that the Red Sea parted for Moses. That's the power that's in you. What?
That's one thing that precursored all of them in the Bible was obedience. A full surrender to God. But you have that power regardless. It couldn't keep Jesus in the grave. It's that weak, but it's strong enough to be in you because it's about you. Hold on, there's more. This is what you would call between tier 2 and 1.
I am blessed, prosperous, redeemed, forgiven, healthy, whole, talented, creative, confident, secure, disciplined, focused, prepared, qualified, motivated, valuable, free, determined, equipped, empowered, anointed, accepted, and approved. Not average, not mediocre. I am a child of the Most High God. I will become all I was created to be in Jesus' name.
Now let's go back and look at the last 2 on the hierarchy. Look again. Self-actualization and esteem are the top 2 things in which he was talking about the entirety of that chant. I am, 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 I am. Now, hear me out. With that many times of saying the I am statement, who is he usurping authority over? It is not chanted for no reason. Mentally, you are replacing the I am with you. They are replacing the I am for them. Because in all actuality, they have now become their own God. So let's go down to needs. The needs hierarchy, the original hierarchy includes physiological, safety, love, belonging, esteem, and self actualization needs. Later expands, adds cognitive, aesthetic, and transcendence needs. Not strictly linear. While Maslow's initially proposed that a lower needs must be relatively satisfied before a higher one, modern research suggests people often pursue multiple needs simultaneously. Cultural variations. Different societies may prioritize needs differently. Individualistic versus collectivist cultures, for example, can shape what needs to be precedent. Practical applications in fields like education, healthcare, workplace management, Maslow's framework helps identify barriers of motivation and guides strategies to fulfill various needs. Maslow's biological approach, cultural biases, and debate over rigid versus flexible order, highlighting the importance of viewing his theory as a starting point rather than an absolute rule. So, according to Maslow, human needs were arranged in hierarchy, with survival first and all the way up to self-identification. Maslow argued that survival needs must be satisfied before individuals can satisfy the higher needs. The higher up the hierarchy, the more difficult it is to satisfy the needs associated with that stage, because the interpersonal and environmental barriers that inevitably frustrate us. Higher needs become increasingly physiological, psychological, goodness, and long-term rather than physiological, and short-term as in the lower survival-related needs. Now, here's what that really means. It's very hard for somebody to get to the I am better than I think I am state without something extra. These people know that. People like Osteen, Jakes, Murphy, Michael, all of them know that you can't just dump people into the giving portion if you don't make them exactly, I was about to say it, feel good. You got to make them think that when they're coming in, the base needs are going to be met just on surface. He will meet those regardless, they're met. So they take care of the first two right off the top. But near the middle, they have to start being a little bit more crazy. Remember, if you come here, everything, shelter, food, personal security, connection, all of that you'll find. Base level met. Now, to get more money out of people, you have to get them to this last two. And the last two is very difficult to get to on a regular man basis. But with God in the picture and his name mentioned, you now have a supernatural way of getting all the things you need as a self-actualization topic. Because God wants you to see yourself a certain way. God made you to see yourself as more. And because he saw you as more, that gives you more to give. That is how they do it. It is very, 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 very slick. Okay? Here we go. The self-actualization, morality, creativity, spontaneity, acceptance, experience, purpose, meaning, and inner potential. How many of them push this idea, be what God made you to be? There's an inner potential in you. It's always about something that you are bringing to the table. But they use the guise of God will motivate it to you. So people buy in. Self-esteem, confidence, achievement, respect to others, and a need to be a unique individual. They will even bring in verses like, I am unique. I'm wonderfully made. You know my purpose before I was born. They will match up a bunch of scriptures to it. Friendship, family, intimacy, all that gets taken care of the instant you join the body that they say you should join. Now let's see a breakdown of the esteem needs, okay? Maslow classified esteem needs into two categories: esteem for oneself, dignity, achievement, mastery, independence, and a desire for reputation or respect from others. You've heard pastors say, hey, you better give so you can make that money. And God don't like broke, because rich demands respect from people. This is exactly self-esteem. People often engage in a profession or hobby to gain recognition, which give them a sense of contribution or value, which is why most of these pastors go into the self-help and motivation side of the Christian walk, because they themselves are looking by proxy of others to experience those top two places. I am valued by people because of what I give them. So what I'm going to do is give people an idea of value for themselves so they value me more for giving them value, because it's not about God. It's about them. Low self-esteem or an inferiority complex may result from imbalances during this level of hierarchy. Maslow indicated that the need for respect and reputation is most important for children and adolescents and precedes real self-esteem or dignity. Why do you think that so many kids are off balance? You see, they're lied to majority of the time. They seek validation from everybody else. And when it's not given, they are broken. Now, when they get to an adult level and the church offers them some sort of idea that you can be more, they gravitate to it because they never got it as a kid. But a child that is brought up in the idea that God is your only identifier and he's already satisfied the needs are not looking for the satisfaction from men or anyone else. They live their life completely content with wherever they are. That is the goal. But what the modern church is doing is giving you this idea, this incentive that you are the only one that should matter in this. We'll come back to that. Let's listen to the other guy.
You got to have the courage.
Listen.
Do you have the courage to act outwardly on what you see inwardly?
Okay. Do you have the courage to act outwardly on what you see inwardly? The fourth need is self-worth, accomplishment, and respect. He just tied in the fourth rule.
Or will you die a dreamer? Will you die on the verge and on the edge and in the land of coulda, woulda, and shoulda?
And what did he just mention there? Listen to this part, okay? Esteem is typically human desire to be accepted and valued by others. People often engage in a profession or hobby to gain recognition, which gives them a sense of contribution or value. You don't want to be in the land of coulda, woulda, shoulda. Low self-esteem and an inferiority complex may result from imbalances during this level of the hierarchy. And he just put it in there. You don't want to fall prey to your low self-esteem, do you? You don't want to do that. It is about you gaining an understanding about you. Of course, to the benefit of God and the kingdom. Of course, of course, to the benefit of the kingdom. But it's for you.
Do you have the courage? I'm going to drop something on you.
Mm-hmm.
It takes courage to be successful.
There you go. It takes courage to be successful. Number 5, the highest level in his hierarchy, and refers to the realization of one's person's potential, self-fulfillment, seeking professional growth, and peak experiences. They are master mental manipulators posing as prophets and preachers. That's what they're doing. They are using these levels of hierarchy in the mind and the needs of mankind that they've assumed everybody wants, and they do. We do want these things because it's built in us, but they are fulfilled in only one person. Mankind has been looking for fulfillment of these things outside of this one person of God.
It is far easier not to be successful.
Again, he echoes right back to the failure idea. You don't want to be a failure, do you? If you don't want to be a failure, then do what I am telling you. He's fulfilling his own. He's trying to keep himself between 4 and 5 the whole time by bringing others into the fray of telling them this is what you need. And the more he realizes they need him, the more he gives them a reason to need him by telling them they need him. And the best way to do that is by reminding them of their potential. Now, mind you, they never actually realize the potential, and they don't have to. They just have to be promised the potential. If they can be promised the potential without giving them any real direction of how to have it, you can keep them feeding out of your hands for life.
Misery will always have company. Success breeds contempt.
People gonna hate you for being successful, which is why you need to love yourself for being successful. What's the number one thing in the number 5 level of hierarchy? This level of need refers to what a person's full potential is and the realization of that potential. Maslow describes this level as a desire to accomplish everything that one can and to become everything one is capable of being. That's what they push. Individuals may perceive or focus on this need very specifically. For example, one individual may have a strong desire to become an ideal parent. In another, the desire to be expressly athletic. For others, it may be expressed in paintings, pictures, inventions. Although Maslow did not believe that many of us could achieve true self-actualization, he did believe that all of us experience transitionary periods of self-actualization. Such moments associated with personally significant events, such as a childbirth, supporting achievements, sporting achievements, examination success, and other difficult to achieve and maintain consistently positions, are paramount. And what does he push? You.
If you don't want to make waves, be mediocre.
See?
Be normal and fit in. And if you're more concerned about people than you are God, then neutralize everything he put in you. Just fit in with everybody else. Dress like them, walk like them, act like them, eat like them, go where they go, think like they think, do what they do. And once you've neutralized your uniqueness, you don't need courage. It takes courage to be different.
Again, his word of use of God isn't God. It's you. because nowhere in scripture can he prove any of the things he said about God that God said about you and your calling. Not one place can he find it. But he didn't just go straight into the identity of God. He went into them first. You have this ability. You have this potential. You. And then he mentions God. Why? Because what he's actually trying to do is associate your view of you with God, which is why they can easily spew out the statement, we are gods, and no one bats an eye, because he's already in their mind associated their existence alone, just their existence, with God. Not because of God, but on the same level as God. That's the crazy part. Back to the hierarchy. Again, achieving one's full potential, including creative activities, prestige, and feeling of accomplishment, and they all push that. Intimate relationships and friends, they have to make sure that you know that you're going to get the man of your dreams and the woman of your dreams if you would but. And here is how they do it, because Maslow also dabbled in the word, FYI. The same way these particular people dabbled in the word, and they used the word to get this point across. Look at Maslow. Maslow posited that human needs are arranged in a hierarchy. It is true. It is quite true that man lives by bread alone. What? Is that what it says? Is that what it says? And answer me a question. Is that what it says? Do you remember me saying to you that the devil has not changed his tactic, right? Not changed it at all. But he will present something to you that seems like it's biblical. Huh? It seems biblical. Now, in the temptation, Satan said, turn the stone to bread. You don't want to starve, do you? And Jesus said, man shall not live by bread. Shall not. What does he say? It is quite true that man lives by bread alone. Do you see what I'm talking about? Now, somebody reading this will think to themselves, that sounds like something I've heard in the Bible before, and it almost sounds true because of how he phrases the next part. It is quite true that man lives by bread alone when there is no bread. But what happens to man's desires when there is plenty of bread and when his belly is chronically filled? At once other and higher needs emerge, and these, rather than physiological hungers, dominate the organism. And when these in turn are satisfied, again new, still higher needs emerge, and so on. This is what we mean by saying that the basic human needs are organized into a hierarchy or relative potency. They have to convince the congregation that their self needs are super important to God, and that they must actuate them in order to show God to be a true person. God doesn't necessarily do it for you. He enables you. It is not necessarily a dependence on God. It is a reference to God to get what you want. God doesn't do it to prove himself. He does it to prove you. That's their theory. That's their theory. Maslow proposed that human beings possess two sets of needs, This 5-stage model can be divided into deficiency needs and growth needs. The first 4 levels are often referred to as deficiency needs, and the top level is known as growth and being needs. So here's what we have: deficiency and being. Motivation increases are not as needs are met. Motivation decreases as needs are not met. Where do you notice the majority of preachers preach from? They preach from the position of getting yours. That's where they preach from. You want proof? Here we go. Let's do some proofing here. Now, he is going to use some interesting language, colorful language, but this is supposedly a preacher. Okay? I think it's Michael Ross or something, like Tim Ross or something like that. Anyway, here it is.
But scripture said that manna came from heaven, and it was bread to them.
Listen carefully. You have to use a motivational factor outside of you to motivate you, right? Something big. Most atheists don't have that. But the church possesses something, a very potent weapon: the idea of God. And if you can convince people that this God we speak of is about your self-motivation, your self-actualization, and you, this is why you'll find more people associate themselves with churches than going into business for themselves or making millions that way. They are more interested in trying to find an entity worthy of giving themselves to get something back. That would be God. And the preacher tells them, yes, that's exactly how it goes. And trust me, you will find your purpose. You will see everything you want come true if you would but do what God said, which is to give money. Sow that seed. Sow the seed. If you just sow the seed, we'll be good. This is how they do what they're doing. It is not difficult to see. Honestly, it's not. It is very simple once you understand their logic. I'll show you something else here. Let me grab this real quick because I think it's essential for you to understand. This has nothing, I want people to understand, this has nothing to do with race. This is not about race. I'm not showing you because I did show you Osteen, okay? And he white. So I don't want nobody telling me this is about black people. Black. This is not black or anything like that. This is about people dealing with people using God. Point blank. Period. Now, in fact, no one. Let me have Ross finish real quick. Let me have Tim finish because I think you need to hear what he has to say next.
We don't make it rain on booty cheeks. We don't make it rain on strippers. We only reverence one stripper, and that's the one that took off glory to put on humanity and then get butt naked on a cross to die for both you and me. The only stripper I'm in love with is Jesus.
Now, why do you think they can get away with saying that? Listen carefully. I understand it's offensive. We got that part out the way. Why do you think it's so easy for them to slip that kind of stuff in and nobody bats an eye? Why? Why? Because outside of that, they're offering the people in the congregation a self-motivating story. And they will suffer through anything that you say if they are guaranteed money, fame, fortune, and blessings at the end of it. That is why they can suffer through that. They were already promised things. That's why he buttered it up with the whole manna from heaven. Now watch this.
And he's the one that puts that bread in my pocket. That bread in my pocket. I got 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 bread.
Now you get back to the promise. Again, you get the hierarchy set up here. Your basic needs, the food, the manna, he take care of that. That's why he set it up. Then he goes into something to bring them back into the biblical thing idea, okay? Then he comes right back to the actualization portion of it. Puts bread in your pocket.
I got bread. I got bread.
That's the goal. The reason they can do, say, speak the way they speak, act the way they act, believe what they believe is because they've already convinced the congregation that they are about their benefit. If I convince you that this is going to happen for your good, for your whatever dream you have, God wants that dream to happen, by the way. And I mean, whatever that dream is, get yourself fulfilled. The top two. They've already guaranteed the bottom three. They just need to get to the top two to get what they need out of you. And again,
from you. What'd you do to get it?
I don't know where the sound went. Oh, hold on.
Me.
Let me back that up.
I can't tell you how it happened. All I know is as soon as I stepped in the room, everybody started gravitating to me.
You see, can't tell you how it happened, but as soon as he steps into the room, everybody starts gravitating to him. Self-esteem, self-actualization, love and belonging. If I can convince you what I'm offering you will give you them top three, I got you.
Tell somebody favor's about to explode over your life.
Favor is about to explode all over your life. They have to convince you. They have no other choice. It is not optional for them. The convincing must take place. The convincing must take place. Because if it don't, they can't get the money out of you that they're looking for to fulfill their own number 1 and 2. We'll go to one more person before we capitalize on this one here. Y'all might recognize this individual too, by the way. She doesn't have on nearly as much makeup as she wears now. This was when she still felt all in the El Natural. I mean, it was still a fake wig, but at least she didn't put on another person's face on like she does now.
This is why the enemy don't want the sacred thing in your house.
Now, when she means a sacred thing is before she was selling a scarf. She made a scarf to sell to people that has scriptures and all, and she said it's anointed. It's anointed, okay? This particular thing is anointed, and if you want the anointing, buy it. But it's so kind of spendy. So she said the reason the enemy might be telling you don't want this in your house is because you know the blessing it's going to give. Once I tell you that, any cost will be okay for you.
When I release this new book entitled, What is This? Is it just Jewish or is it Jesus? you're going to see the power of what you have in your house.
You see what I mean? Listen, it always will come back to what will benefit you. We ask ourselves all the time why these people are so successful. The reason they're so successful is because they know how to market and dabble in human emotion. They prioritize the emotion because they know that's a motivational factor, not just any motivational. It's the strongest one we have.
It's not a garment. And once you read the revelation that God gave me,
Make sure you follow me. Make sure you do what I'm telling you. And you can't get this if you don't read the revelation I'm giving you. It's not in the book, mind you. It's in her book. It's not in the book. It's in her book. It's some brand new revelation that you can't get anywhere else but in her book. But they have to convince you of that first, so that when they say something about things that you're going to do, it'll be believed.
I've had people that are masters in Hebrew study to say to me, God gave you this. This is a divine revelation. When you read what this talit is, you would know that you can never buy this.
It's too expensive. But, wait for it, but.
Oh, stay there, stay there, stay there. You will know you can never buy it. To think that I can sell you God is absurd.
Wait.
To think that the representation of Jesus is a price, there's something wrong with us.
Watch. Just wait.
It can be nothing but a seed of connection. Because when you recognize,
You get it? You saw it? I'm not selling you Jesus. That'd be absurd. What I'm selling you is the seed of connection to Jesus. When I tell you they are good, they have mastered Maslow's law. I am not selling you God. I'm not selling you Jesus. But what I am selling you, what you are buying, is a seed, an access point to God. Isn't that what Jesus was? Anyway.
and God revealed nationwide what that cloth really is, you're going to know that you're holding a sacred thing and that you're connecting with something.
All for a nominal price. It's for a nominal price. We often ask how they got to this point, how people are even buying into it. They're buying into it because genuinely, humankind, because we are a distant person from God when we are born, we long for that unity. We long to be in the presence of what true love is. And some of us find love in all kinds of crazy things. Some people look for it in addictions. Some people look for it in work. Some people look for it in validation. But we all are looking for a sense of belonging, a place to be, someone to love us, somewhere to belong to. Now, when Christ showed up and told us that we, in our own nature, deserve only one thing, but in his nature, we are given something else. We have a hard time giving up what we want because we think God must want that for me because it's in me already to want it. But what he's trying to show us is that nature is not fulfillable. It will always look for something more. It continually it's greedy. that human nature is greedy, and that's what these people bank on. The reason they keep coming back to give is so they can get. The reason they keep coming back to listen to the voice is so that they can get more motivation. That's why they buy into this. But when we hand our life over to God, it's a whole different ballgame. Contentment shows up. And it's not even contentment in the having of stuff. It's contentment in the having of who. He is enough. I'm not saying he doesn't want people to have funds or money. No, I'm not saying that at all. But if you're following him in order to get, wrong approach. I should be following him regardless of what I get, but whatever I get, I'll be grateful for. I may have something I want to do. No doubt I went to school and get this degree and I want to do that for sure. But if that thing ever becomes more important than your pursuit of the relationship you might have with God, then you have misplaced your allegiance. And there are too many that want to have what they have more than the relationship with God. They don't mind saying, using, and calling God as the catalyst. They have no problem ascribing it to him, but they will never actually fulfill that in their actual living. No. And these pastors know that. They just need to give them the inference, the starting point, the idea that God is behind it. And as long as they can push God with it, you will give them what they want. Because in turn, look at what you're getting. This is how they do it. This is how they do it. I'm going to play the rest of. I want you to listen to the rest of Murphy's statement real quick as we end this, because this is pivotal, what he says here.
God's about to do something for you. I'm closing. God's about to do something for you. He said, tell you, it ain't gonna be hard. Watch this, and it ain't gonna take long.
He's about to do something, and it ain't gonna be hard, and he won't take long. God's the God of now, because he wants you to have it now. The same way, if he wants you to have it now, you would give now. And in fact, if you gave now, that would rush the process of God bringing you what you want. And when it doesn't happen, you probably needed to give more, or you were reluctant to give and you did it, but you're trying to do it from a different perspective. You need to change your mind and give more next time. Give more and change your perspective about your giving. Let's be honest about something, okay? The modern church is about feeling good. The modern church is about how much you can leave the service and feel accomplished, feel accepted, feel loved, feel. Not know. It didn't say, be still and feel that I am God. Whoever comes to me must believe and feel that I am the rewarder of those who diligently seek him. They put feelings, the emotionality of things, the high from giving, the high from me telling you you'll get something back, the high of one or two people being successful in giving processes and say, see, it works. That high is what mankind looks for. And when they get into the low periods, they cannot handle it. The first thing they say is, God has abandoned me, when you were never with him to begin with. You were with the pastor, but now with God. They're interesting. But it is psychology that they're using on people. This is a psychological warfare tactic that they're using. Create a dependent society within the church Once they have become fully dependent on you and you've convinced them that you are the real deal with getting them somewhere they think they need to be, you can have them offering, giving money, giving anything, defending you to the death, because they genuinely believe that what you're giving them is what they need, but what you're giving them is what they want. And they're not even getting it. They're just getting the idea that they could have it. Yes, it is a tactic of the devil, but this is fallen man's doing. This is fallen man's doing. It is why we cannot see this for just the surface stuff. Okay? This is far reaching. And when you're trying to convince somebody to not listen to other people that are doing this, you show them, again, this is not necessarily something that will pull them out of the stupor. But when you add this alongside the word, they may not want to hear the word, but the word will prompt you to use any and every tool necessary to bring them back to the word. Show them what they're using, that it's not the word. I'm not going to try and use psychology to get them back, but I'm going to show them psychology is keeping them where they are. And the instant you let go of that man's tactic, you will find a deeper relationship with Christ. But if you don't want that, then you don't want that. Keep self-actualizing all day long. Go ahead, have at it. But when it fails, don't say God did that. That was my brother, that was you. All you did that to yourself. The whole thing you did by yourself. You went happily and did that by yourself. Point blank period. Anyway, I had to bring this to you because the realization for me of what they're doing made it easier for me to feel as though when I expose them, I have an answer for those saying, you're doing it because you're jealous. Now I have an answer for that. I'm thanking God for that one. Tomorrow, I am unsure if I am going to be on, simply because I started this new med and I don't know what it's going to do. I have no idea if it's going to be an allergic reaction or a weird thing. I don't know. They say it doesn't give one, but I know my body's weird. So if it creates like a lethargic kind of thing, then I will know more after this first day. So we'll see. I'm hoping it does what it's supposed to do and get rid of this crap feeling. So keep an eye out. I may or may not be available tomorrow for at least a live. Same thing with Savage. Okay. Just FYI. I need to just make sure I'm back to regular, because I already have brain fog. I don't need to add more brain fog on top of the brain fog I got. It's because I am very I am. I know it seems that way is because it is. I can tell you, I am doing a lot. I'm not saying no. I am doing a lot. There's a lot I got going on. I got a lot going on. Tons on my plate. And maybe just maybe I probably need to give up a couple of things on the plate, but I don't necessarily I've not been issued a summons to do that. So can't yet. But I think what he has done is prepped me to work with little sleep. That he has done. Because in all of my working from childhood to now, that was the one continuous thing that I had to work with, lack of sleep. And so I've been able to function no problem on very little. It's getting a little more difficult as I get older. Yes, I can say that. But for right now, when I find time to rest, I rest. If I can't find time, I don't find time. So, and sometimes my body will just shut down and then I have to. That's different. So those are my gauges at this point. But I'll let you know now that if this thing kicks in and it's weird, you won't see me tomorrow. If it's not that weird, you'll see me tomorrow. Okay? So let's put it like that. Scrolling at the bottom, you know what to do. Feel free to talk to your father about that. Whatever he says to do, y'all do. You know, I ain't trying to coerce nobody into doing nothing. Not tall, not tall, not tall, not tall. Check out Too Strong. We've been dumping videos left, right, center. If you can help us by getting that algorithm pumping, that'd be amazing, because we sure could use the bump up. Okay, we could sure use it. What we're hoping for is a nice jump in the viewership, in the numbers, because if that happens, then I can take it easy on other things. Because really, Too Strong is the bread and butter I got going now. So just so you know, okay. That's the best you could do, is push that content out. Share it on all your social media platforms. Grab the link, put it on X. Grab the link, put it on Instagram, on Facebook. Send it to friends on text messages and in Messenger. Okay? Start looking at it. We will do, Teresa, for sure. All right? So that's my request. That's the only request I'll make for you. That's it. And if you're watching this program, you have not subscribed, please do so. To this channel, I mean. I'd love it too. I don't request very much on this platform at all. But please, if you do watching, don't just watch. Subscribe. You never know. I might talk about something you like. You never know. Just a thought. In any case, we'll be back at least, possibly, more than likely tomorrow. Again, keep an eye out. But Sunday, we're still good for Sunday. We're still good for Sunday. We'll see you guys 4 o'clock Sunday, regardless. And at least with Sunday, I can sit back. I don't have to have a full control of nothing, because each one has, right? So I'll be good to go. So we'll catch you guys on Sunday at least, possibly tomorrow. All right? Love you guys, mean it. Wisdom calls to you from the streets. So please, please, please find wisdom. Peace.
Hold tight between